Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Izzynyce, and you're now tuned in to Talk Down. I'm only here to give you my thoughts, not to be a role model or the new Tupac. Give you advice for free, no coupon. I'm trying to split it with my family like we use a Groupon. And I don't really like groupies, but maybe I could put my group on. I like real women with real feelings, the die-hard type, kind of like Bruce Willis, the type of people that could defy physics. Maybe I'm wrong for the pain I put in my songs, it's too personal. It's just business, nothing's personal. I skydive from heaven just to spend time on earth with you. And if you need a shoulder, here's my arm, girl, I hurt with you. The closest thing to my motherland is my mother's hands. And looking down on me always gave me the upper hand. I play my cards until I got me another hand. I hear them coming and I hear them saying, they saying.
They let it talk down when I'm not around, yeah. It's only tied down when I'm out of town, no. I don't trust many when I'm in the city. I've never been a shooter, but I keep them with me. Watch them steal the style and say they inspire. Bitch, I've been a boss who wanna get higher. They let it talk down when I'm not around.
What's good, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Down. It's your boy Ryan.
And it's Juan, and we have another guest here, another week, another guest. And we have Izzynyce. And he's a singer-songwriter, right?
Yeah.
And you do other things amongst other?
Yeah, I engineer, I produce.
Writing these down just in case. You have to be a jack of all trades when you're doing what you do, right?
It definitely helps to be.
You can control your own sound in a way you can,
Yeah.
for what you want to release to the people. Okay. How do we know each other?
We know each other from doing the Tony Central podcast.
Tony Central, yeah. And then I introduced you to Infamy.
Yeah.
So,
That kid is crazy.
well, his work is great too. So we have a warm-up question just to kind of let the audience know exactly who you are and kind of how you think. And the first one is, what's one quality about you that people probably don't know that you would like them to know about you?
I feel like I have so many amazing qualities.
That's a good way to think.
When like people hear my music, they're like, "That's you? You don't strike me as someone who sings."
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, well, the more you know.
So there's more than meets the eye,
Yeah,
essentially. There's more
always.
depth there.
Oh, that, and I probably penned your favorite artist song. So,
Oh,
So ghostwriter, huh?
well, credited writer, but I don't like ghostwriting.
That's another conversation in itself, right?
Yeah,
So the one topic, and to give you more of a look into his depth, he wanted to talk about fate, and I was like, wow, he had other topics that he kept like roping off, and I was like, you know what, no, and then
I kept really I was like,
No.
this one's good.
And to paraphrase, he said, everything's set in stone, or does everything happen by chance? So basically, why fate? Let's talk about it. Why did you want to talk about it?
I feel like fate and I guess like destiny and all those things have played like a very big part in my story, but in a lot of other people's stories that I know. Like maybe they would have been like a minute later than when the opportunity presented itself. Am I making sense? Do you guys?
I agree. Absolutely.
I agree.
Like,
so you're talking about of fate in the sense of like timing, where it's like if he almost would have missed that boat or that opportunity if it wouldn't have happened.
Things
So
have
you're
a weird way of lining up.
yeah, for instance, I'm like a huge Eminem fan, so I know like everything about that guy. And in '97 when he did the Rap Olympics, like he almost missed his plane. You feel me? Like he almost didn't even make it at all, which would have had a whole nother effect on his life. He
it would have altered not only his
intern, wouldn't have got to do the Rap Olympics and get to like the last round, even though he lost. But I feel like all those things happened in such a way to it's like, damn, like you're not gonna deny this guy his place
calling
in this
or whatever.
world.
Yeah,
Right. So you felt like if he wouldn't have gotten on that plane, then he would have never met Dr. Dre.
Yeah, and we would not have Eminem.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm kind of on the opposite end of it. I believe a little bit more in destiny because destiny is something to me that you can control, whereas fate is more inevitable, right? So that's why I'm glad you're here, because I'm always interested in maybe other people that actually are on my side, or Ryan I think is aligned with a little bit more towards
I'm a blend of both. Like
Yeah.
there's a thin line between fate and destiny, right? And then distinguishing the both, and that's what we're trying to do here today.
Yeah, so what are the differences between fate and destiny to you?
Yeah, I feel like fate, there's some things in your life that like are fate, you feel me, like are like just gonna happen no
They're
matter
inevitable
what,
in a sense.
You feel me? And then there's things that are like a fork in the road, and if you go left, then something happens because you went left, or if you go right, then something happens because you went right. You feel me?
So your decision you made
I
kind of
feel like
altered your life.
That's how I look at it.
And that's when you talk about it like that, I'm with you on that. But when we talk about like some things are pre-planned in our lives, like our fate is to be that, or our fate is to go through these things. Like I feel like we're more destined to do certain things instead of like we have no choice. I feel like everything we do in life is a choice in a sense, right? And for me, the same way that we talk about like luck and all of that stuff, like people are like, oh, you're lucky, like. like there's a fine line between luck too. Like you feel like you can create your destiny and you can't create your fate? Is there like a distinction between there for you?
I feel like the book could always be like edited, you know, and like changed.
It's like that movie Adjustment Bureau. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I've
So
never seen
in that movie, it was kind of that concept where there was a book written by someone. And everyone had a path that they were supposed to go on. And anytime they deviated from it, they had these people that would adjust to make sure that those ripples that you've caused to get you off of your path, they brought you back on your path.
Gotcha.
So that's fate in a way, right? So going back to what you were saying, there's a book, right? So you believe fate has a specific like map for you.
Story in a sense.
Story for you.
Like, I feel that way because it's like you take someone like, I don't know, like Nelson Mandela. He did 27 years in prison. And like, for a lot of people, you think, yeah, that's the end of that. That's, you feel me? That's it for them. But like, that wasn't the end of his story. Like, I feel like he had to go through that to come out the Nelson Mandela that we know. You feel me? That we're accustomed to.
Okay, so that was his fate in a sense.
I feel like certain things will just always happen
For certain people.
Yeah, for certain people. But I also feel like not everyone's like fate and like destiny is so like great and like impactful. You feel me? I feel like some people are just destined to be regular people.
Yeah.
You feel me? And not really do anything too spectacular. But you know, then that's how you differentiate.
I guess it's on those people to make the most of it, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe set up the future. Because maybe it's not about them. Maybe it's about what's to come from what they've already have established, whether it's a kid or maybe a role that they have that they don't like, then they maybe fight for equality or something like that within that 9 to 5 that they have. That's a good point to look at it. So there's a ripple that there is something that they're causing, but it might not be for them exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Facts. Yeah. So even if it's like my pop, he was a rapper back in the day. He had like a studio in my bedroom when I was a kid, like my whole time growing up. I feel like that set me up to be able to become the artist and the creative that I am. You feel me?
You saw it early on.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's more destiny or fate though? Like I feel like you were destined to do more of like art or creating more because you were around it early on. I don't necessarily feel like it was your fate.
Well, for him, it was his destiny, but his father's fate was to be a rapper, but maybe his father's fate was to just have that equipment, have that available for his son, right?
So
like that.
Have that access
yeah,
to it.
His father's fate was capped in that you're just here to set up the next generation. Whereas his destiny was what he took, whatever. That's how I'm interpreting. Am I right, guys? I mean, do you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, you get what I'm saying?
100%, yeah.
That's where I feel that there's a distinguishing difference, right? You had destiny play that because of your father's fate. Your father's fate was capped. That's it. Like, and even though you might have, even if someone might have told you that, you know what, you're not gonna make it, right? But your son is. You know what I mean? Like even as your ego's like, nah, man, I'm gonna make it. Like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, for him having that and exposing you to that, like, look where you are now. You're able to take it a step further.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And you said something in our chat, and then we're like, hold on, we have to stop this chat because we were about to really get into it. You said, I believe everything's fate, and I look at it like a crossroads. And that was interesting to me because I feel like we could have gone into so many different conversations, and that's why I stopped it, because I already know Ryan was about to start. So can you get into that a little bit? Looking at it as a crossroads, like that was an interesting way to frame it. I've never really heard it framed that way.
If we look at it like fate is like, that's it, then there is no crossroads. You feel me?
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
That's why I don't agree with. Like,
I feel like nothing in this world is black and white. Like everything is just like a gray area. So I feel like even if your fate was to be something and you deviated, then your fate is now something else.
it makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
I see it.
Well, with that, like you're saying, and you mentioned it earlier when you're talking about like a fork in the road where you have to make these decisions in life. And look, we all have to make decisions in our life that are going to alter our life for the good or worse, right?
Right.
And I think when I hear the word fate, it's like no matter what, that is my predetermined life.
That's
like,
it.
My fate is to be whatever.
Right.
You can use any example. But it's like, oh, he was destined to be the greatest artist in the world based off of what he went through. And like you said, maybe earlier in your life, you were around it a lot earlier.
Yeah.
So they use it a lot with athletes, right? They're like, oh, his father was an athlete. He's destined to be an athlete.
Well, but see,
too.
destined.
Like, yeah, that's how I keep saying. So I'm more on that like destiny, like you're destined to be certain things based off of your environment, what you're influenced by, without a doubt. But to say that your fate is inevitable and like who creates the fate? Like who's telling me, hey, you're gonna be this? Like,
Nah, yeah, that's a fact.
But it also depends on what you believe in, right?
not exactly. So now we get into a different topic then.
You remember that guy in I think it was in San Francisco where he jumped into the tiger pit and he got ate by the tiger. I feel like that was his fate. Like his life was supposed to lead. It's fucked up to laugh about it, but his life was supposed to lead him there.
Right.
For him to get mauled by this tiger.
Okay, so it was his free will to do that. And I wanted to talk about why make a big deal out of free will if we are at the mercy of our fate. You know, like, if you think about it, like the one thing humans have that no one can take away from us is free will, right? So why make a big deal of that? Is it if we're at the mercy of, like, why just say, yeah, fuck it, I'm done? You know what I mean? My fate is my fate. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the guy that even made that decision to jump into the tiger pit, like, you know, why try?
At that point, then fate is kind of determined by your thought process and your will to like actually like just be like, well, you know what, throw the towel in, or like actually be like, nah, fuck that, like I'm gonna shift this whole game, you feel me, like I'm gonna do something that's gonna put me where I know I'm supposed to be. You could be destined for something, but like still like not even know. To me, like I'm so concrete in the fact that like I'm gonna do something big in music, and I feel like that is my fate.
Right, and again, you don't strike me as a person that if I were to tell you, this book says your fate is you're done. You don't strike me as the guy to be like, all right, cool.
But there are people who
like
settle
that.
though. And look, and to use an example now, as you guys were talking, I'm thinking of this. Like, there's people who get in trouble early on in life, right? And they're in the jail systems and stuff, and they're like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, what do I have nothing else to gain. I'm always in trouble. My fate is to end up in the jail system or whatever it is, because there's like
the vicious cycle.
Yeah, I feel like those are people who are just giving up. So for me, like, if you give up, of course your fate is gonna be whatever the hell you want it to be. But like with you, if somebody tell me, oh, you're not gonna do this, I'm like, what? Like, so who are you to tell me that? And then in a sense, it's like you're deciding my life for me. Like, and that is my fate in a sense, because I'm not gonna try to change it. So, do you feel like when you don't try to do something to change your life, is that more on the fate side, or with destiny, it's more like, hey, I'm gonna whatever you tell me I'm gonna be, or whatever you say I can be, I'm gonna make sure I change. I'm gonna destine myself to be whatever a lot of people, and that's what happens with a lot of athletes. They're like, oh, you're not good enough to do this. I'm like, all right, bet. Turn out to be a superstar or whatever it is, like, or even artists, like nobody believed in Eminem when he first started, and he look where he's at now, one of the greatest artists ever of all time. You mean so?
Drake get a day job.
They
said, really? Your day job.
Yeah, he was an actor. He was an actor beforehand. Yeah.
10 years later, look at this guy.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, he's one of the greatest.
So he could have easily said, "Hey, my fate is to be an actor. I'm gonna stay with this." But he's like, you know what? I'm destined for greater things. So he made those decisions. And I mean, everybody knows Drake now.
I guess to go back to free will, I guess if you have to be more stubborn with your free will if you want to create your own, I guess, right? Because there's people that relinquish their free will and rescind and say, I'm giving up. This is what I'm supposed to be. And their fate was their truth, right? But a lot of times you can create your own truth, right? You can create your own, like you, again, I go back to you. I know you, and I know how relentless you are in your work and how much work you put into this, right? Like you probably sleep in a studio if you had the chance, right?
I woke up in my studio.
So it goes to, I don't see you as the type of person that will give up your free will knowing what you can control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you can control everything. For the most part.
For the most part,
yeah. There are variables that we can't control, but I think if we focus on what we can rather than what we can't, then at least we'll meet, if not exceed our fate, because we were able to control what we can, right? Yeah. Despite what's going on around us.
Yeah, I feel like if you have enough inner strength and you channel your energy the right way, you could will anything.
Facts.
I love that.
That's what I feel.
That's true.
But there's people who don't believe that, and then that's why they're stuck in those fates or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess it comes down to who you are as a person, right?
I feel like that goes a lot into it too. If you roll over easy, then
that's your fate. Like you're going to be, you have more of a chance to be nothing like you think you are, right? But like I know all of us is like, hell no, I'm gonna be what? Like, you gonna tell me I'm gonna work a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life? Like no, man. And not to say 9 to 5s are bad, but at the end of the day, like some people want more than that. Yeah. Some people want to be remembered for something. Some people want to be destined for greater things, and instead of just living within the world or whatever it is. So I think at the end of the day, we can talk about this forever. It just comes down to who you are as a person and what you want to determine for yourself.
And if you feel like you belong outside of the box,
jump out the motherfucker.
Get out of it, right? Because our greatest creators have come from the uncomfortable.
Facts.
Right? I think that once you test yourself in that regard.
I always say that too. And I've been waking up in a state for the past couple of weeks, creatively I've been slumped. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to someone the other day, and I'm just like, yo, I feel uncomfortable, and not in a bad sense, in where's my life going? You feel me? But I feel like I'm for lack of better words, like I'm too big for the room that I'm in. Like figuratively.
You're not challenged. You're not. And I talk about being uncomfortable all the time. Because for me, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing.
Yeah.
Right? Because anybody could do the same shit over and over again and be really good at it. And it's easy though. Right? But are you really learning from doing the same shit over and over and over and over again? Like, nah. I always talk about I want to create an uncomfortable environment, learn how to control myself and be comfortable in it, and then change it again. Yeah. And we talk about that, like, and what you're saying right just before, like your environment was too easy for you at that point. And you're like, yo, it's not where I want to be right now.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, to add to your point, I remember in high school I did like theater, like drama classes and all that, and we were doing Lord of the Flies.
That's a great story. That's a great story. I love that book.
The director, he did like this one exercise where he would be like, all right, like pick a position, feel me? Stay in that position. Like get comfortable in a position, feel me? And stay in that position until you're uncomfortable, and then move a little bit and just like keep getting comfortable in those positions, and then allow yourself to get so uncomfortable that you have to move. So I feel like that, like even though like I didn't get it at the time, but like when I like think back on it,
it makes sense.
I'm like, damn, like that was a gem.
That's our life. That's our life. We're always adjusting. Always try. Because look, ain't nothing easy, right? I could walk outside like, damn, my life is tough. But don't you want that, right? Yeah. Don't you get better from dealing with shit that's tough?
I feel like adversity is definitely something that like makes or breaks. It's either you built for it or you're not.
Exactly. And then that's all. It'll all tie into what you're destined to be or what your fate is inevitably. Like, so for me, and I'm not calling out anybody, but like weaker-minded people are always gonna be like, oh, this is my fate. Oh, I'm never gonna be nothing. Like, stop being soft.
Yeah.
Like, so, step outside your comfort zone and really try to push yourself and destiny yourself. So
maybe there is fate and destiny, and maybe fate is like. Maybe fate is for people who are just like...
who have relinquished their free will, who have given the fact that, you know what, I'm just going to give in. I'm a worker bee.
Yeah, and destiny is for people who are like, nah, like...
I'm beyond that.
I'm beyond that.
And I agree with that.
If this is my envelope, I'm pushing it, right? I'm pushing it further. I'm going further than that. To close it off, so I always say one generation sets up the next for success. So the vicious cycle keeps everyone here, right? So everyone's destined to be in the same exact thing. Like, damn, yo, your mom did this too? Your grandmother did this too? So why are you still here, right? Yeah. So it's on us to make sure that we're stepping up a platform so that now their destiny is in a much better place, right? Like, so you give them, their odds are better to succeed. So I guess there's also some selflessness that goes into fate and destiny, right? Like for you, especially people that like to control their own. It's a great point, man. Great topic. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you coming on. So it's another week, another mailbag. We're into some questions.
Our first question comes from Josh in Metuchen. He says, I've been single for a while and people call me picky, and I might sound dumb, but I do believe that when I meet the one, in quotation marks, I'll know it. My question is it possible to love more than one person in your lifetime, or is true love just singular?
Wow.
Nah, I believe it's possible to love more than one person.
I agree, 100%.
Like,
I'm glad you said that.
There's no fate in that.
Like that, it just don't make no sense. You gotta love one person.
Like, if you met this one person and you fell completely in love with them, and then y'all broke up, it's like, well, that's fucking it.
Like, I'm not gonna love nobody else.
Nobody else is worthy of my love. Yeah. Nah, man, you can't think like that. You could definitely love more than one person, but also like keep in mind that everyone you do love, you have to love differently.
Oh my God.
And you do love differently.
And you have to love them the way that they need to be loved, and not the way that you want to love them, and vice versa. They need to love you the way that you need to be loved.
Right.
So,
of course.
Yeah, so just to add to that, I 100% agree. I think that anyone that you felt like you've said I love you to previously that didn't work out, it wasn't love. It was a variation of maybe an emotion or something that, you know, I think love is a whole bunch of different factors, right?
For sure.
So each one before that you've loved, maybe you just take a lesson from it. All of it does is as long as you've improved and corrected anything, self-corrected anything that you felt you've done wrong, then those are lessons that you've taken from those loves, but they were versions of love. To me, the end result is love. Whatever you end up with, whatever you feel like this is it for me right here, that's true love, right? So I think it's all about defining what true love is to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. And I agree. Look, just to finish on her points, you definitely could love more than one person. We talked about the book and our story and stuff. There's chapters to our life. There's chapters to love, right? Early love, young love is definitely not the same as you mature and grow older, right? Love. You learn more, you make mistakes, and you develop into, like what P said, your true love, or where you can understand how much love affects not only your significant other, but everybody else around in your life. So from there, just learn as much as you can. It's easy to love, right? It's easy to hate, but I think as you mature and you get better, you understand how valuable it is to the people around you,
and
how it affects you,
and how
it affects
extreme
you.
those are.
Yeah, and the way he said it, like some people just need to be loved differently, right?
Yeah.
The person that you love now might have been hurt by somebody else beforehand, so that type of love they need now is different than somebody who's never been hurt, and it's all brand new, and they're like, oh, I love this person so much because
that you saying that just triggered another thought in my head, and
you're welcome.
It's that like it's that today I'm, hypothetically whatever. Today I'll need my significant other to love me a certain way, but we grow and we change, and so those needs become different.
And you gotta adjust,
and you have to adjust. That's why it's always cool to like what's this guy's name? He said it. He's like, sit your significant other down and be like, oh, how do you need me to love you today? You feel me?
That's
like,
wasn't it Will Smith? Jada and Will Smith.
Sound like Will
I
Smith
think
would
Will
say something
Smith said
like
that to Jada or something like that.
Maybe he has said
I think
it
she
first,
mentioned
but
that he said it to
like
her.
another completely different guy say it.
Yeah, because I think he mentioned that she said it, that he said it to her.
Gotcha.
Because that's the type of couple they are, though. They're so self-aware. It's not.
And I feel like for any love to last, you need to be self-aware.
100%.
Of course. Have your boundaries and stand on your shit, but also know like, all right, I'm tripping, like I'm doing too much, or she's doing too much, or he's doing too much, like
That was Josh and
Yeah, Josh, yeah.
So I hope we answered your question, man.
Yo, Josh, love hard, man.
Yeah, jump, man. It's gonna be fine.
Even if it fucks you up, don't let them change your heart.
So question 2 is, hello, Juan and Ryan. I have a friend who started doing drugs recreationally, but now I feel like that's gone from once in a while to almost every day. This friend of mine is in denial now, and I know this is getting out of hand. I'm concerned, but don't want them getting mad at me for nagging them. What should I do?
In the event that it's, like cocaine, crack, heroin, meth, whatever, you feel me, mollies, e-pills, all that shit, and keep nagging them.
Yeah, a true friend will, right?
A true friend, somebody who really loves you is gonna keep nagging you until you get it in your skull, you feel me? Like, alright, like this shit is really killing me. Like, my aunt passed away from a heroin overdose in 2014. And it was her second overdose, you feel me? So I feel like I wasn't like around for like that whole time period, like to like actually see what went on. But I feel like if the people that were around her that loved her, like if they would have really been on it, you feel me, and like clocking her and checking her and like making sure that she wasn't, fucking up, then I feel like
they could have changed that.
She could have, they could have changed that shit. Like, yeah, that's a touchy topic for me. You feel me?
I appreciate you sharing it though, man, because I think that when someone goes out of their way to do this, it's because they care.
Yeah. Facts.
I think in the end, it's not wrong for you to care. And I think nowadays, there are people that are so prideful that it makes you feel like ashamed for caring so much.
Yeah.
So I think there's nothing wrong with what you just said, and I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, there's no pride in making sure that your people are good.
Right.
I mean, there's no pride in that. Like, I mean, take pride in doing that.
Yeah.
But like, feel me, if it's like, I don't want to do it because I don't want them to, fuck your pride, fuck their pride. Like, tear that shit down and like get to the root of that shit, because if you don't, that shit could end up body bags or in prison or you really bad spots in life, and you don't want to see nobody you love.
And we talk about ripples. There's plenty of people around that need that person, right?
And to finish the point, look, that person might be waiting for you to tell them.
Yeah.
Right? Like you said, somebody needs to check them.
They might listen differently if it came from you.
Exactly. In a sense where you're not attacking them and like, hey, look, understand why they're doing what they're doing. They might be dealing with some stuff, but there's other like alternatives that they can resort to. They might need help. They don't know where to look for it. You coming out and lending out that hand might be the one thing that ultimately like changes them or stops them from doing what you feel like is hurting them. So
and there are hotlines. We're not experts, but we probably have life experience with things like this. I know I have. If you feel like you're still not getting through to them, there are hotlines. There are things that you can research on Google. I'm sure there are resources that'll probably coach you a little bit better, and maybe even interventions are in play. Get some of the people that care about that person the most, and it'll be almost like a rude awakening. What I would do is I wouldn't let up, like he said. Just be relentless. So thank you, Izzy, for dropping in.
Yeah,
of course, man. Anytime.
Another successful episode. Thank you to your insights. I wanted to give you the floor, basically, to plug whatever you're working on, your social media. If you have projects that you've released, we definitely would like them to know. So plug away.
Yeah, for sure. I just dropped a single. It's called Lower. It's available on all platforms. It's featuring Sui Generous, produced by Sito on the beat. It's a fucking banger. I'm trying to get my album out by end of the year, top of the year. It's called The Worst Love Songs Ever Written. And it's pretty much like, it starts off like in this very lovey-dovey stage, you feel me? That's how love starts off. And then like as you go through the project, it gets more mature, you feel me? And I guess not darker, but like it just gets more like realistic, you feel me? And then by the end of the album, is the last track is like the self-realization track that like, alright, like maybe I need to just chill and like and go like try some other shit and like actually live my life and you
take
feel
care
me?
of yourself
focusing, take care of myself and stop focusing on like needing somebody to
love you and then loving yourself more.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's dope.
Yeah,
that is a dope
amazing.
concept.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing that.
Looking forward to it, man. Yeah, so your social media?
My social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. At Izzynyce, IZZYNYCE.
And it'll be somewhere in this area.
It'll be right here.
And the links and all of that will be in the description as well, so make sure you check that stuff out.
Do you have any final words to send them off with?
And follow your heart. Fuck what everybody say.
Yeah,
word
that.
But I mean, consciously follow your heart. Don't be an idiot.
Word up. So I guess this is a perfect time for us to go into our Talk Down Challenge.
Our Talk Down Challenge is for you to become the master of your destiny and live the truth you yearn for. Whether you believe that fate is inevitable and there's nothing you can do, or feel you're in control, a few things remain true. We wake up, we experience, we live, so why not learn and improve along the way? The way I see it, it doesn't matter who you pray to, what you believe in, or what deity you praise at night. Think about it like this. Until your story is told, your fate is unique. It belongs to you and you alone. The only thing that matters is that you believe in yourself and believe that your path is purposeful and full of meaning. Truth be told, it all boils down to the single word, believe, and we believe in you.
Yeah, so man, look, create whatever you want. Destiny, fate, whatever the hell you want to call it, you got to believe, right? If you're not trying, nothing's going to manifest. Nothing's ever going to happen. Don't just fall into things because you feel like you're not good enough to become anything. Just keep trying, keep looking, keep loving, like Izzy said, and just go from there, man. I honestly think that's the biggest thing you could do.
So the episode is over, but the conversation continues.
So as always, tell a friend to tell her friend to tell all of her friends to follow us. And we'll check you out on the next episode. We appreciate y'all checking out. As always, check out all the previous episodes. Drop a comment below. Turn on that little bell so you can get a notification when we post. Yeah. Izzy, as always, we appreciate you coming through, man, having a conversation with us. We look forward to your projects coming out. And that's it, man. We'll see you on the next episode. Take care, guys.
Peace.
You still suck at that.
They let it talk down when I'm not around, yeah. It's only tied down when I'm out of town, no. I don't trust many when I'm in the city. I never been a shooter, but I keep them with me. Watch 'em